Hello.
Oh, you didn't do intro.
Oh, I did. It just.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and I was missing an intro today, so I didn't know where it was. Today, I'm going to be showing you how you can paint this wonderful floral bouquet. This could be for a wedding. This could be for a celebration of spring. These wonderful, they're kind of like a ranunculus flower. It's just everything about it is just a great color palette. Some of you noticed that I did base this on some very popular wedding color palettes that are going on right now. And absolutely, I did do some Pinter research for sure on that, because I want you guys to have things that are substantive and uplifting in your life. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to create this painting. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
And what he does is he makes the equipment work, and he tracks me around with several cameras, reads your comments, and so I don't actually see the chat that's happening here, but he makes sure that if you have questions for me and need to know more things, that I'm aware of what that is, so I can help you out if you're painting along at home. And that's the point of this, is that you guys create this at home.
We have such an audience with it today. It's so nice. We got almost 400 people here already, and they just keep coming. Hi, guys. It is wonderful to see you this morning. I'm sorry we had a little technical problem this morning. That's why I said I didn't see my intro rolling in there. So sorry about all that. But we're back to normal, I think. I've got the buttons under control.
He's got, he's totally navigating the Starship, so we should be all right. So let's begin with our materials. I have a 9x12 canvas board here. I like canvas boards. They're the same as stretch canvas, for being quality for your art. It's just a preferential choice that you can make as an artist. On here I have wishes. I have a wish for Leola to have some healing for her kidney stones. We had a wish for hope and healing. For kids that are fighting illness. That was one actually my son gave me after seeing a video about Make-A-Wish. He just wanted me to wish some hope and healing for kids. And then and this is an emphatic one that's come in from several people, and I know John mimics and we talk about a lot. An absolute end to digestive problems. Ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, IBS, just an end to that, like a solution and an end so everybody can go about their lives and feel better. That being said, let's look at the colors we're going to be using today. Over here, I have titanium white, phthalo blue, Mars black, quinacridone magenta. I have cad yellow medium and phthalo green. I've got some little Q-tips here that are bunched together in bunches of 3 with little rubber bands. And also to help me in my layout process, I have a little bit of kids chalk that's the kind you use on chalkboards that's sharpened and ready to go. And of course, just to keep it pleasant, I've got a little coffee because we've got to be civilized here. There's just no reason to get crazy and not have a little sippy.
Right. I have some coffee back here, too. Oh, and I also have picture-in-picture. I think I got it working beforehand. Oh, there it is.
So we do these so that you guys have a reference in the corner. That way you're not having to be psychic and know where we're going. But if you are, congratulations to you and good luck on the lottery. Okay. And I genuinely mean that. The first thing I'm going to do for this is put in the background painting. And to do that, I've got to make a little bit of a cool black that I'm going to gray. So how I do that, I have an inexpensive palette knife here. You could do this with a brush or another tool, but I like a palette knife. I'm going to pull out a little of my blue and work this into my black. Now, if you had Payne's gray, you could probably just use that because that's a very, that particular gray has what's called a blue bias. And all that means is that it tends to lean towards blue.
I think I have a blue bias.
Yes. Colors are pundits. They have strong opinions one way or another, warm or cool. So when I have pulled a little of that out, and I'll actually use that to darken my green and a couple other things later, I can pull this aside. I'm going to get a nice big fat brush. You get any nice big brush that you have. This is my number 30. Bright. It has a nice firm filament and it won't hold too much water, because you don't want to hold too much water in your acrylic paint brushes. It's just one of the ways they differ from watercolor brushes, because you want those to hold water. Just different goals. So I'm putting just a titch, if you see on the edge here, of this color. And I'm going to make a nice little gray. And I want it to be a bit darker. Let's get it right into the range. I've got my example painting up in front of me so I can see it as I'm painting. And I always try to remember that my colors can shift or darken. So I want it to be just a hair lighter than my eventual goal. when I'm painting it on the canvas. That might not be something that you would know about acrylics until you know. Then you're like, why is everything darker? Have you ever had that happen to you? You're painting a painting and it was one way wet, and then when it got dark, it was too dark? Mm-hmm. That's what happened, color shift. So what you do is you just kind of eventually make adjustments in your mind to how the color is going to be, you know? And that's what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to just continue to load and get the same color. Just going down. Whole background is going to be this cool gray. This is that beautiful kind of, you know, you see this in satin, in bridal satins.
Yeah.
This gray. It's fabulous. You know, one thing I'm going to say about designers is these are a crew of people that understand color theory. They do. It's no joke up in there. It's not like esoteric color theory. It's a super science for them. If you're going into fashion design, expect to be drilled down and really studying color theory.
Now, Nikki said this, as lots of other people have as well, I've noticed. They really love the sound of that brush. But it's got a very satisfying brush sound.
There is a beautiful piece that can be had in life with a large canvas, large brushes, early in the morning before your family is up. Just painting your troubles away. Setting your morning, nice little warm beverage. What is it Sheldon Cooper says? Nice little warm beverage. So I just want an even coat of this color. And when I'm happy with that result, sometimes I move this when it's still wet. My finger will lift up some paint. Because acrylic be sticky. When you're happy with that, you're going to let that dry. So we can lay in this incredibly fun and easy. And when I say easy, it might not be easy for you. I don't want you to get wound up. It's the first time painting. You never know what techniques are going to give you a little moment. So, but what I'm saying is there's not a lot of process to it. So you've got a really good chance of doing it. And I'm going to explain it so you can duplicate it at home.
Cool.
This is definitely what I would put in the one hoot category. But it's just one of those things. Sometimes people are like, sometimes a one hoot feels like a three hoot to me. Mm-hmm. And I get that. I do. All right. I'm going to dry this with my hair dryer, and John is going to visit with you guys while I do that. And we'll come back to chalk this in.
All right. I'm going to see if I can find mine. There it goes. Okay. Oh, there it is. All right. My gosh. I have to turn back over. I had all these buttons. We've been sort of like discombobulated here with all of my buttons today. We've been trying to get all the different things going on. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Man, it's so nice to see all of y'all today. I know I was looking over here and saw a lot of our loved community just coming and wishing us well. And I just wanted to say thank you for all of that. We're very, very happy to have you guys here hanging out with pushing the buttons back on so I got cinnamon. And don't forget to post your pictures up on a Facebook group, on the website, all those, because I like to see those, and I can't wait to see more of our wedding stuff. So
yeah, I love it. You guys are all so great on social media. I love my Twitter crew. I love my Instagram crew. I love my Facebook crew. You guys all have like so much fun going on out there, and it's just wonderful to see what you post and write. I have a learning opportunity here for you guys that kind of spontaneously come up.
Oh yeah,
hopefully the close-up cam can show us what's happening here.
I can.
So in this area, let's see if it's seeing it. Can you see this sort of like rough, like denim?
Yeah.
So what happened here is that I did not take off enough of the water from my brush, and it was too moist. And so when I came over here, it was more of a wash, and that's not the effect I want. Now to fix it, this had to be totally dry. And actually sometimes you don't see it till it dries, because as it dries, the water evaporates, the paint pulls down into the film of the canvas.
Yeah.
And so you'll see these problems. And if you see that, the solution is probably what you're already figuring out, which is just add a little bit of extra paint to resolve it and dry again, which is what I'm going to do. But I just wanted to show you that's the thing that can happen to you. And while I'm always like, not too much water.
You're right.
Water is a problem, but you need it. Or mediums, something.
Okay.
So I'm going to just see, now I'm going to be just like,
right.
How I'm going to fix it is like, I'm going to come just on the tip of my brush. I got just too deep all the way to the ferrule on my brush, and it pulled too much water into it and caused that problem. But it's a real super simple fix, which is just this right here. One little extra coat of paint, and all is right with the world. Now, if when you do that second coat and your paint underneath lifts up and it was dry, what you're having is underbinding.
Okay.
And if you had not soaked the paint, it may be a student paint problem where the paint isn't binding properly to the canvas, and it might not be you. But you didn't know that. Sometimes in painting, it's not you. Sometimes it's the materials.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I'm going to dry this again and let you visit, but it won't be long, Don. It'll be just like 20 seconds.
Okay. So, there it goes. But yeah, as I was saying before, please post up your pictures up on the Facebook, on our Facebook page, on our website. You can find it at TheArtSherpa.com. There'll be links in the description below, along with like the materials and all that stuff. But yeah, definitely share up your picture. We definitely want to see all that. I really enjoy seeing how you guys do all of this stuff. So thank you so much. Let me see here. There we go.
Coffee. I need it.
Coffee.
Coffee break. This would be like just see my canvas. Coffee break. This would be like if, okay, like obviously I'm not in a spin class, but if I were in a spin class, I imagine that they would break for coffee.
Yes.
So that really demonstrates I'm probably not in a spin class. I bet you I'd show up much more diligently to one of those if there were coffee breaks, though. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. I'm going to make a couple marks on my canvas just to let me know where things go. First, I'm going to mentally, in my mind, this is the best division you'll do of your life, divide my canvas in half in the middle, and then find the middle spot in this bisection and put a little mark. Just a little mark. That's all I need. I just need to know my breaking point. Okay. And then I'm going to take about 2 fingers and make another little mark. And that's my breaking point. I'm leaving a little gap for my stems and everything. And I'm coming up above where I think, like a salvage edge. I'm coming up a little bit above where I imagine my bottom stem might finish. So I've got some room. This is going to be where my stems kind of come down like this. I don't want to make too many chalk marks because this has got to be sort of small, but this lets me know where I'm going to start putting in my flowers. Now I'm going to make, this is a little over an inch. It's about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. And it's almost in a slight smile. That's going to let me know where that top is. And then I've got to lay in my bouquet. Over here, in this sort of middle to upper right, I've got a nice big flower that I'm going to put in. I know that. A lot of this is going to disappear as we put it in. And then I have an interesting flower up here. This is an ellipse. An ellipse is sort of a foreshortened circle. Can you see how it's like narrow closer to sides and longer at the tops? Mm-hmm. Like this. It's an ellipse. And that gives the effect of something being in perspective. Right here I've got a little focal friend. These will totally adjust as I'm painting, and I have to paint a dark background behind them. But kind of knowing where they are in layout ahead of time can help me from making a bunch of mistakes. More ellipses. This one is a little bit bigger than the friend it has next to it. I'm showing you the technique because much like yesterday's faux wood technique, I believe if you get this down, you can use it in a ton of different ways. And I always like that opportunity for you where you get to go be creative in your own way. Whew. All right, so I've got that blocked in. That's really going to help me. And even though I'm going to put a bunch of dark color right here, I know where stuff is now. Right. Right. Again, coffee break. Coffee break. I should run a spin class. I'm going to get my number 8 cat's tongue. You could use a filbert or number 8 round, and you can even use a bright. A brush is just something that makes a mark on canvas. This does help me out because it's got a lot of sides that I use. Mm-hmm. But you know, hey, we finger painted before. I'm going to dip my brush in water here. I'm going to drag off the extra. And I'm going to take a little of this Payne's gray that I have over to my green because I need to darken this color. See, I'm darkening it. This is going to give this depth of base to everything that I'm doing so that it's very rich. Now here, I need to make sure that these flowers are against a dark background, but I can kind of see a Venn diagram of where they all touch now.
Oh, yeah.
So I can easily plan where this shadow is going to be and put this in. It's so weird. It's like there's a lollipop in my flowers that I laid in. What'd I lay them all in? But I know where they are now. And I just needed to know where this could go. Just putting that around. Lollipop. So you see how I've got little chalk outlines that are beyond that, but this dark is focused. So where they don't completely merge up, there's this nice shadow to help them pop out. More of my dark green. And this part is kind of fun. I enjoy it very much. I'm going to make sure I've got into my smile a nice little bit of green that I'll be putting my other values over. And I'm going to come down right the center. I'm on the edge of my brush. This part can be easier with the round because it leaves a nice pointed finish. Or one of these cat's tongues. And I'm going to just finish it off like that so that the stems are sort of loose. See how I'm doing that? So they're stemmy, but also loose. A little bit at the edge here. All right. Now I've got this deep value in. That's really going to help me for everything else I've got to do. But guess what I got to do again, John? Dry it.
Oh, good.
Drying, so in acrylic, whether things are wet or dry is equally important. You have to know when it has to be dry, and you need to know when it has to be wet. And it's the balance of those two things that makes this one of the coolest mediums that is out there right now. I'm going to dry this up.
All right. While she does that, I'm going to thank all you for coming and hanging out with us today. Man, this is, I've just been like catching back up in chat, and I am as excited to see all the variations on this as you guys are. So, you were very quick.
Yeah, I just need enough to take what's next. It needs to take it.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how everybody else does this, all the variations. And there was I just caught a quick question here for you, and I know you've answered some similar questions, but
I don't mind.
So Katie was asking if after you've painted this in, if you want to put more chalk lines on there, you can put more chalk lines back in, and that's okay, yeah?
Yeah, especially this chalkboard chalk that we use on kids because its pigment level is very low, so it leaves a mark that we can see, but is easy to remove. Like, all I have to do once my paint is dry is take a slightly damp brush, and it's gone, right? I can easily take it out. So the trick about the chalk is that if this is dry, this will go. If you use oil pastels, though, you're going to be really stuck with it for a minute. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right. Now I've got my number 4 cat's tongue. You guys know how much I love these. But again, you could use a number 4 round, just like this for the next effect. So don't be stressed on it, or any size round. Just whatever gives you a good brush stroke that you like. I'm going to pull out my green and some of my yellow, and I'm going to loosely mix those. And that means I'm not going to mix them all together in little circles. I'm going to just sort of have them loosely mixed on my brush. And sometimes I like to get a smidge of white because it gives me a little pop in there. And right about the midpoint, I'm going to bring down some focal stems that are showing. Little one on the edge out here. See how these are sort of mid-sized strokes? I'm going to just pull this down and pull that down. You can kind of see the curve. I want my dark underneath to remain there because...
Now, Ishmael was asking if
Ishmael.
Is it okay to use a filbert instead of a cat's tongue?
Yes.
If that's what you've got?
Yes. Use the brush you have. So now I've got some little stems. It won't hurt your painting. Tools are wonderful. But there's a lot of tools. There's a lot of challenges where I've challenged myself to be like, can I do this whole painting with this one brush? Or can I do a painting with Q-tips? That's actually kind of part of what spewed this very long Q-tip journey. Is that I'm like, oh my gosh, I could just paint a whole painting with Q-tips. I can paint a whole painting with my fingers. So there's just no limits. It's just really about your comfort zone.
Yeah. And
also, I have to say it, Melville. Because you said call Eastville, and I was like, no way, that's so awesome.
and actually,
I'm sure you get that all the time, and if you do, I apologize.
I'm not sure if
I have a name like Cinnamon, I get it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I pronounced her name correctly. But it's ISMAIL.
And probably not, because that was
you know, I do a bad job with names.
Yeah, I'm thinking if it was a girl, maybe that's what that was.
And I'm not sure if it was a girl. It may be a boy's name. I don't know. There's no, we don't have.
You don't know?
There's no context.
Now for the next part, I'm going to get a more squared brush. That's just a preference. You could paint this whole painting with one brush. So don't get too caught up. I'm just letting you know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this wet. This is a number 6 bright. And the reason I'm picking this is it's going to let me get a nice sharp edge. And I want that for the next part. That's all it is. And I'm going to make a lighter gray than the background stems. Lighter gray than the background stems. And you can kind of see that's a lighter gray?
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Because to get this sort of vintage white look, I've got to have a cool tone underneath it. I'm going to come to the top of my flowers and come across in a little half smile. I'm going to pull this down. And I'm going to come a little bit past where my stems are sticking out, and then I'm going to take the wrap across. And you can see I'm just trying to get this nice sharp edge. That's what you're just trying to get. This clean edge right here. And I'm going to pull that across both sides. Down here, down, 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 down on the edge, a sharp edge, and across. And you can see it's significantly lighter than our deep shadow value. Now, this is to imply kind of a vintage silk ribbon. This is very shabby chic vintage silk ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
I love all the creams and greens and succulent arrangements and all of that very much. Just going. There we go. Well, that's fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is, and it's lovely. Now, I did this with a very dry brush.
Is that why it's called dry brushing?
Yes, it's called dry brushing. It's going to let it dry faster. But again, for the next part, I like to have it be a little bit tackier. This painting, until we get to the flowers, is a lot about a little bit of drying. But I have a trick. Instead of using a hairdryer, because I have some stuff that's going to be behind my flowers, it's a good time to put it in now, and that'll let this dry. So sometimes that's paint management when you're just planning like, oh, I need to let this dry. I could hair dry it, or I can do something else while it's drying.
No,
so,
Ismail was a boy.
Yes. Okay. Well, then that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm not sure
and also a great literary hero. Good name.
True.
Good name. And I think we all tilt. You know, chase whales, tilt at windmills. I mean, it's just such a good story and lesson. I like Moby Dick.
But
I also really liked when Picard was accused of doing that. Sorry, geeking up. I'm going to add some little flowers.
Oh, are you? I thought you were going to dry it. I was all getting prepared to.
No, that's what I was saying. Like the choice is you could dry, or you can take your 3 little Q-tips.
Oh.
I'm going to be dabbing so you guys can go, wait, what?
Wait, someone said the dab is dead.
The dab is dead?
Yeah, apparently you can't dab anymore. It's like the moonwalk.
I have such a thing I want to say to that, but I'm not going to because we have so many little brushes. Okay. So I've got these coated in. It's like I've got a little bit of cad yellow, and you can kind of see that it's a little bit of yellow and white, right?
Yep.
And this way I'm going to come here and I'm going to make little sprays. And the wonderful thing about this is they kind of make a random pattern. I'm going to just... It's okay if it's light on the paint. We're just talking about a little spray. And you can even think about a little flower head coming down and curving. You make another little curve. See? Little spray. Just a little spray. I'm going to say it anyway. Dab, dab, dab. Though I have been forbidden by my eldest daughter to actually do the dab you are referring to. Because I'm not cool enough, and I accept that. Don't need to be cool. Plus, it never was, so it's not like I lost anything. It's not like, oh man, I used to be so cool, and now I'm not. I'm like, it's kind of like, oh, more of the same.
That's right. My 6-year-old updated me that the dab was dead.
Huh?
So it was my 6-year-old who kept me up to date on this.
Really?
Yeah. So
it's crazy.
I guess heard from guava juice.
Oh, well, To be frank, if guava juice said it, it's probably true.
It's probably true.
I'm going to put another little bit out here to the right. And see, you can go over where your flowers are so that this tucks behind nicely in a way that you like. This is like a baby's breath. You think of it like that? Just some little spray, some bright little light, beautiful, airy flower.
And I'll help. And there's a Marshmallow and a couple others were asking, "What's the dab?" And that's a modern dance move, just to put in context. Or it was.
I'm not saying it's as bad as the Macarena, but
it's it's just one of those. They have a dance move that they called it.
See, nothing's been good since the electric slide.
It's true.
The mashed potato twist.
See, they just keep coming up with new names.
It's so crazy because, like, when I was a kid, we had 50s. We had 50s dress-up day.
It's true.
And you had to come as your favorite 50s dress-up style. So everybody had polo skirts, and our parents dressed us up with ponytails and all that stuff. And now my kids are like, it's 80s day. And I'm like, what?
And you could do the Cabbage Patch in your Air Jordans.
Oh, good times.
No.
Good times. All right. That's sad. So I've got those up there, and this has allowed this to dry. So see, I've used that nice time management, to put in some flowers while I'm letting another area dry. So that's another cool way to get through. I'm going to put these to the side, and I'm going to finish this off. And a lot of what's left I can do with this brush. So I'm probably going to stick here for a second. I'm going to dip this in water. I'm going to get a smidge, just a smidge of my nice yellow, and get it into the gray white. And can you see how I'm getting here? It's like a little bit yellowed right there. You can see them compared to each other. But it has that slight feeling of maybe being white. I'm going to come from this side very lightly, kind of high brush that down, and then just take this across, but not all the way to the edge. And you'll see little bits of the yellow come in there, and it just gives it a nice feeling. You can even get a little bit of your darker gray. Not as dark as the darkest color, but a shade darker than what we put across. And then just come across here if you want to, making it shadow. See how we're doing? And that gives it that slightly round feeling. It's just something that you can do. And I just enjoy that the wet gets there, and I pull that across. See what I'm doing?
Oh, yeah.
It's a little wet paint. And it makes a little shape. That's all you needed. Now, these are pretty fun, but to put these in, they need to have some background leaves. So real quick, I'm going to just, as was mentioned earlier, make sure I've got some little chalk guidance so I know where stuff is and that my arrangements are good. Because you got to make sure that your arrangements are good. You want to have bad arrangements. If that's out to in, I've got to come out here. Because I need to leave room for this one in the center. And I've got a little one in foreshortening and a little one here. If you do your chalk first, if there's something that's really not going to work, you can see it sometimes and not have a mistake in your paint, because mistakes in your paint are just harder to fix. They're not terrible. It's not the worst thing that ever happened to you. It's just a little more challenging. Get this wet again. It's all cleaned out from the pigment that was in it. That would be a rule. And I'm going to get a little of my yellow and then my green. This is going to be a very bright green. We're now back into those succulents. And I'm even going to get a smidge of white. See, I get just a little bit over here. Just a little. And I'm going to make the simplest leaf shapes ever. So I'm going to come right here and make a nice little curved brush stroke down. Join that up. Well, that's a pretty little leaf. Sometimes I'll get a little more dark green so that they're a little different in tone. And make another nice little leaf shape. Leaf shapes are pointed at the ends and kind of fatter in the middle. Not all leaf shapes, because they come in different shapes. Do leaves. They didn't get the memo that we're painting, so they didn't unify. I'm going to make another little one here. And see how these are like they're just squished and coming out? I just got a little water on my brush so that it would have some personality and a little more green. And I feel like I need to have a little bit of the leaves tucked out over here. So I'm going to tuck out a nice little leaf over here. Point it on both ends, a little pudger in the middle. Curve another little shape. There you go. See, he's got a nice little thing. So I've got those in. That's working out pretty well. But I need these little sprays to come off. And again, I'm going to suggest chalk because chalk is easier to remove than paint. I'm going to make one little one that curves out here maybe, shorter, and then one longer that comes down and drapes down. And to put these in, it's pretty easy. I'm not going to rinse my brush, but I'm going to load it with a little more of my green and a lot more of my white. You may need to dip to get nice flow. You can get yellow in it, but you want it deeper to the green. There we go. And I'm going to come to the end of this stem. I'm going to take my round or my filbert or my cat's tongue and press down and make a little leaf mark. And pull back another little leaf mark.
Now, I'm sorry, I was just trying to catch you up on chat on chat. So Renee was saying she was struggling with making with keeping consistency of the leaves, making them look flat. Is using that curved brushstroke. What can she do to help keep those her leaves from looking flat there?
Well, can I suggest something?
Yeah.
If she has time. If there's any way, we're going to try to troubleshoot some of the stuff with our tech over on the Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
If she came by and could share that while we're there in the Q&A, maybe you could grab it and put it on the screen for me. If she had an example, if you can. Okay. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. You don't have to at all. I'm just saying sometimes if I see something, then I have a better idea of like, oh, that's what happened. And then can just like, that's why I love teaching in person because it's like, oh, I got it. But if not, what I'll say is that if I understand what the question is, I feel like it's gesture. It's about making the sort of S mark that gives the leaf a little personality. But a picture always helps me most. All right. I'm going to pull this back. And those are a little yellow, so I'm going to get a little more white into it. And a little more white. I was asked a really good question about vibrant greens by Rachel Eddington, actually. And one of the things about greens, if you're having trouble getting these bright greens, there's a bias somehow happening. In other words, the color, there's a understory in your color somewhere in the green that's causing it. Now, it could be that you have pigment in your brush and you need to change your water. But it could be that the two that you're mixing just don't make that vibrant green. You'll have a whole thing on green soon because greens can really make people a little frustrated. Oh, that leaf was a little weird. Oh, I was just going to get it in line there. Say, oh, we meant for you to be big. That's what we do. No, it's a feature. Didn't mess up. Just pulling these in and there. That's into that. See, now we have these nice little happy sprigs here. And all we have to do is put in these delightful little ranunculuses, which is kind of a lot of fun. So basically, these tend to be a little more pink-centric in the center, and then they come out into like a cool white-blue, and that's what creates all the drama in that. And it's all just this fun little round stroke, and you can kind of just build them up. So I'm going to make one and kind of show you how I get that done. So the first thing that I like to do would be to get a nice warm white. My white's a little and kind of got a bunch of crazy pigment around it, so I'm moving it out so it doesn't. And I'm going to add just a smidge of my yellow. I'm going to come here and I'm going to just start making little circles. See? Just happy little circles. Little more white. Now my paint's pretty thick. If I needed them to be you know, just white or have purple. This is the space that I would be in there making those kinds of decisions about. But I've got to get this first layer on, and I want to work while the paint is still wet.
Mm-hmm.
So to get the center to be pink, I'm going to come over here into my pink, like you do, and I'm going to load it up with some pink. This is my quinacridone magenta, but any magenta or pink that you love will work here. I'm going to just curve these strokes around. Make this as dark or as light as you want. You can rinse out and do a smidge of white. You want just a smidge. And phthalo is powerful, guys. So you're going to want it to be as light as you can get away with. And come right on over with this. Everything is very harmonious and mixing in this color palette. So if the pink gets out there, it'll go a little purple. If the yellow gets into it, it can go a little green. And I got that in there. I can come back with my little pink and darken that up. See how we're doing?
Yeah.
So that's a nice base. Next layer that we'll do, we'll create those final pops. Let's do this on all of these. Some version of this. So I've got my yellow and my white. And here's a little bit of advice. On the ellipse, where you put the center is where the ellipse is focused. So if it starts here to the edge, then it's going to be focused that way. If it's in the center, it's facing you. That's how I talk about if this stuff is facing me or not. Where does the pink go? Pink goes where it wants, really.
Yeah.
And you just make these as light or as dark as you prefer. They could be more pink. They could be more white. It's really totally up to you. I think the light palette is pretty delightful. Just trying to make sure I have enough white for what I'm doing. Put a yellow in there. There we go. Definitely know I want the face to be here, so I'm going to focus that one off to the left.
Oh, that makes it look like it's kind of angled out.
Yep. And if you lose it, you can put it back so easily that you don't have to worry about it. So it's like, oh, it went in some direction I didn't mean for it to go. I like these to touch each other. And this isn't quite the brick rose that we do. I'm going to do a flower next to it, and I'll work two of them at once. This isn't quite the brick rose that we do, but it's a cousin to that. It is a cousin to that.
I really like how that you've had that sort of the sort of color dash of pink and blue in that.
Yeah. And we're gonna keep getting that in there. But first we're gonna get our pink in.
Now, did you pick up any water on your brush there?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay.
But I might have blacked it out.
You may have inadvertently
I feel like I'm still just into the paint, but if I did, I'm sorry. And we're just making that face is gonna face here. Now I'm gonna rinse this out, and then I'm gonna go back and kind of add a little something to all this. So I'm gonna get a little of my blue, barely on my brush, but a little bit. And you can see how pale all that is. But you do need pigment on there. I went too pale. But you could, because it could be white. I'm going to just make sure that there is, see how we're going? Some of this around all of these. One of the tricks to this is to be generous with your paint on the canvas. I just picked up a lot more paint. That way it's covering, you're seeing the brush stroke, you're seeing what's happening. You can always go back into your pink if you lose anything that you wanted, and look, we can just take that much more pink. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Right here, much more pink. Or much lighter. You could go so light as if they were only kissed in the center with pink.
Just kissed with pink.
Kissed with pink.
Kiss them with
You
the pink.
cannot really mess it up. You really, really got this. Now, this is a thing that's like, I did this, so either I've got to fill this up with white, or I've got to come back with leaves, and I think I'm going to just make this little guy a little bit bigger is all. So I don't want such a gap right there. See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I'm just tucking those in more. And so you can do that. Don't be stressed about it. I have a nice little spot up here.
Hey, kiss the center with some more paint.
I'm going to have to kiss the center. And you can go fast. It's not like a precious method. It's more about the expressiveness with what you've got going on. Be brave. Be expressive. You know, get some pink. There we go. Coming in there. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Some of them should be a little bit lighter. Some of them should be a little bit darker. Getting a little blue and white. Maybe a little bit more white. Just go for it. One last little dude here. Let's go. Get a nice little ellipse. We want to definitely put the face more towards that edge.
And that makes it kind of look like it's looking that way.
Yes. Wherever you put this highlight of your pink is where the flower is facing.
And then you kiss the middle.
Kiss the middle. And I like to come back with
wash out your brush there, yeah.
Yeah, I washed out my brush. I'm just going to come back with some white and just make sure that I've got nice painterly petals. Oh, you can. This is real fun. You can get a little bit of your high green, and that is the green that is way on, like to the yellow. See there? It's green, but it's got a lot of yellow in it. There we go. You can even come and kiss some of the edges. This is when, for me, that they pop.
Now, I know I always forget to do this, but if you like this and you think this is cool, don't forget to hit the like button, the little subscribe button, the little belly thing, so you can get the reminders when we do out these little lives. And I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming. This has been really cool. We've had a really awesome crowd of people here, and we've had like 500 people painting wedding bouquets today. So that's like a pretty awesome. I'm always floored when we get to have such a wonderful group of people hang out with us. So
now the last little sorry, I get so pained. I'm gonna sippy because I'm going too quick. I'm gonna do some ribbons and then we're gonna sign.
Well, I get the luxury to sit back and watch you paint and go, you know what? It's kind of awesome.
Now, this is the baby pink. If you need them more into the warm pink, your trick here will be taking a little of your yellow.
She's so into the teaching of the painting. She's just like, I see it. I saw something. I got to teach you.
Well, I'm sorry. So see how I kind of peached it up? So when you do this, that warms up these centers. See?
Oh, yeah. No, that was that was important stuff. See, you just saw that in the monitor, didn't you?
Yep.
And you were just like, ooh, I can make them more.
We can make them more. And you can just add a little bit, and that'll warm them up. If you went more into the purple, that would cool them down. So that's how you easily change up that sort of feeling of color. If you want them to be more white, then you'd go back with white, however you want to express them. And my last little trick is to get a little of just my pink, no yellow, because I want it to be a very cool pink. This is a very cool, cool biased red, which means it's more to the blue than the yellow. So I have to add yellow to warm it up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to make a nice soft pink, something bridal, something spring. And I'm going to come on the edge of my brush, and I'm going to just make wispy little S thoughtful strokes. So I press hardest at the beginning of the stroke and I lighten, and that's how they get all light and shapy. There we go. Because she's walking. And when you're happy with whatever you've done in your ribbons, then you just take a little brush and sign your painting I'm going to maybe grab a little of this baby pink because I really enjoy it, and I think it'd make a neat signature color. I'm going to turn this particular painting to the side. I feel like if I do this, it'll feel a little bit like the ribbon. I don't want to take over my whole canvas with my signature. That's not my goal. And now that I've done that, we have live streaming. Showed you guys how you can paint your own wedding bouquet. If you check the iCard, there's a groom, there's a bride, there's a proposal, and there's 2 pretty awesome dates. One before marriage and I think one after. So if you like that whole sort of love story, the whole series of paintings is there waiting for you to do. And now you've got the flowers. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.